What do you make of the whole BUSA, BLSA discussion?
Rato, it is extremely sad. You know, we're 16 years down the line, and after 40 years of statutory apartheid, we see a new kind of apartheid emerging. And I attribute that to the fact that, in all fairness to the governing party, 98 years of evolving collectivism in leadership, because what we really have is collectivist leadership, where we should have inclusivist leadership. It's leadership that consists of factions with different ideologies. It's like a leader suffering from what I would call multiple personality disorder. Sounds funny, but that is what we have, and that is where we have conflict.
Okay, now we've got a situation where it's been suggested tacitly, but you know, it's quite pregnant, that Business Leadership SA, which comprises the top 80 South African companies, has struggled to even secure a meeting with the new administration. And they see that as a snub by the Zuma administration, and in many ways they see it as foolish, because they constitute the companies that capitalize the JSE 75%. They are the power brokers in this economy, and they feel there needs to be greater consultation with them by government. And so what do you make of that? Should the government be talking to Business Leadership SA at the level that BLSA wants them to?
Yes, I think very, very much so, because that's where our strength lies. I mean, right now the World Economic Forum is meeting, and we have representation there. And what do we say? The impression that is created will affect foreign direct investment, and that's what we need right now for job creation and for economic growth.
But government would argue that they've engaged BUSA on a variety of levels, Business Unity SA, which is seen as a smaller body, an amalgam of 56 or so business bodies, but represents also a cross-section of business. Why is there this perception that BUSA is a less strategic alternative?
Yeah, BLSA is really very poorly and weakly represented within BUSA. And unless we get away from this us-them syndrome and become more inclusive, really inclusive, you see, what we need is shared commitment and shared motivation and shared action based on a shared vision. And unless we get to that place, we will have this dysfunctionality.
Under the previous administration, the president opted to work through working groups within a broad range of business spectrum and consult business in different ways through working groups. That system is not being used, and business is finding that problematic. Should the Zuma administration necessarily be working through the working group approach?
I think we should go back to the working group concept, which was instituted by President Thabo Mbeki. But more than that, we cannot have something that is window dressing. We need to have an innate South African personality in our business unity. We should not be having different bodies. We should not be having 56 bodies. We shouldn't be having two major bodies. We should be having one body.
So it should all come together under one umbrella body. Now, how would that help the government? Because the strategic imperatives of this government is poverty alleviation, creating jobs, bringing the rural economy into the mainstream of the industrial economy as well, and dealing with SMMEs. So certainly on that level, maybe you can engage business. But on the broader outcomes that government is looking for, these are largely social projects.
Yes, and that is what I see the role of Trevor Manuel and Collins, the monitoring part of the presidency, is going to be, is that yes, they do have a list of commissioners, but that I don't see BUSA and BLSA represented there adequately. We do need this National Planning Committee to engage every sector of South Africa in executing this plan, because in the end, this strategy should be more about strategy implementation than planning.
Kwebi, just your opinion on this one, without getting into the nitty-gritty of whether BUSA is smaller than the BLSA. How should government be approaching business in trying to find solutions to South Africa's problems?
You know, emerging market like South Africa, you have to show integrity especially to international investors. So when you're looking at attracting FDI, you need to show that you know what's going on, and that you know how to to make use of pools of capital that potentially wants to be invested here in South Africa. The best people to do that potentially for you are large business, because that's where FDI first goes to go and get an opinion about a country, and then being able to show that there's a coaxis between government and large business, because then everything else trickles down from there. And if you don't have that, then you don't really have a starting point, do you?